Hello everyone, it's M4J here and welcome back here to the OpenTTD tutorials, funnily enough on OpenTTD. Last time out then we did the timetables for these two trains here, the little DMU and the slightly longer HST. We've got them up, we've got them running. You'll be thrilled to know that they are now working. You see autofill has now deselected because in both cases we have the, the schedules full. I'm just going to deselect that because it was annoying me. Clear the lines there as well. We're currently on board the DMU here as it leaves Sledwood. I did want to show you something else quickly before I move on, which was the passing loops, which are just up here. I did actually have the signals the right way around the first time I did it, not the second time I did it, which is kind of annoying, but it's fine now, so it's all good. You'll also notice up here, see where it says 5:48 on this window here? That's the time we are going to arrive at Cadtown, but you'll see above it, it has 8 AM as the departure from Sledwood. Now, not only does it show the schedule we're currently on, it also shows the next schedule the next time the schedule runs, which is a really cool feature which I really like. And we're going to add to that today with scheduled dispatch, which it might sound scary when you first see the window. Again, I'll be transparent and honest with you. This is the second time I'm recording this because I goofed on the first one and did something that I wasn't sure how to fix. But I'm going to make sure I don't do it again now. So we're going to enable scheduled dispatch. So it's not assigned to an order. Now if I hit, what do I hit? I can't remember what I hit. There is a way to do it though. I think, is it this one? Ah yes, assign schedule, schedule 1. There we go. So scheduled dispatch is now assigned to this first order. Again, this is new. This didn't exist the last time I used scheduled dispatch properly. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to run this slow train every half an hour. So here on delay, I'm going to change this to 20 minutes. And again, this is a rule of thumb that I tend to use. It doesn't necessarily have to be the one that you use. But if I'm running a train every X minutes, then the delay is 2/3 of that value. So if in this case the number is 30, 2/3 of 30 is 20. So that's my delay. And that's how long it waits. If there isn't a train in the depot for whatever reason, it will wait up to 20 minutes past its scheduled dispatch time before it skips that slot and moves on to the next one. I think that's a pretty fair way of doing it, to be honest. Some people might do it less. I might myself switch to less in the future, but right now I think that's a good way of doing it. Just gives the train a chance, because there might be one that arrives at the depot just before the time expires, and then that one can dispatch and still take that slot, which means valuable money into the bank account of the company, which is always what we're here for at the end of the day. Duration. So this is how long it lasts in minutes. 1440 here, 1440. That's 24 hours. So we can leave that as it is. In fact, it even says there, this schedule repeats every 24 hours. Again, ignore the minutes. The schedule began at midnight and it ends at midnight. So this is the bit here that we're about to change. The start date we can ignore. You could by default set that to midnight, which it technically already is. What I'm going to do here then is hold control and click departure slot. If you just did it once without holding control, you can set one individual departure slot and it will add that to the table up here. If you hold control and hit departure slot, you can select several. So the first time, we're going to have our first train leave at 5:14. Why not? Period is the frequency. So in this case, 30 minutes. And we're going to have the last train leave at, let's say, 9:14. If I hit add departure slots, there you go. So these are all the departure times that this train will leave. When it gets back to the depot, you'll see already actually the departure time there is now 7:14. We arrive back at the depot at 6:29. The next departure slot after 6:29 is 7:14, which is this one right here. You'll also notice a couple of other things have appeared on here now, including this third line here. This schedule requires 5 vehicles. I love it when a game calculates things like this by itself, and this game is fantastic when it comes to that sort of thing. It knows exactly how long it takes for the train to run the schedule. It also now knows how often the schedule will be run. From that, it automatically calculates how many trains you need. So we need 5 vehicles, 5 DMUs, just like this one here, to be able to successfully run this service. We will come back to that momentarily. Right now, we're going to do the HST. So we're going to head over here. I'm going to click Enable. I'm going to click CAD Town here. I'm going to do Add Schedule. Actually, for this one, I'm going to change things up slightly, and I'm going to do Rentwood Station. And that is going to be where scheduled dispatch is assigned. So right now, it's going to make sure that there is a train, hopefully here, in time to run these schedules. These are going to run every hour. So we're going to set this to 2/3 of an hour, which is 40 minutes. Duration is automatically set to 24 hours, which is fine. I'm now going to hold control here again. This one is going to start at 5:22. Every 60 minutes, not 30. Sorry. Set that to 1. There we go. And we'll set that to 0. I was expecting it to be in minutes for some reason, even though there's an hour one there. Last slot is going to be 10:22. And we're going to add departure slots. There we go. And it's telling us we need 3 vehicles to run this service. And you can already see where it's grayed out here. These are the services that have now been allocated to this. So it's going to arrive. This service right now is going to arrive at 6:43, but it's not going to leave until 7:22, which is more than the 20 minutes allocated here. 20 minutes here would take it to 7:03, but it's going to wait a little bit longer to the next departure time, which is 7:22. So we now know that the DMU at the top here needs 5 vehicles, and the HST at the bottom here needs 3. So we can now hit clone, which is this button here. Hold control to do shared orders. If you don't hold control, it just copies the orders, but it still clones the train. So if you hold control, it shares the orders, and we're going to get 4 more of these, and we're going to get 2 more of these HSTs. Now, sometimes, again, this is a bug that may have been fixed. It may not even be a bug, actually. It may be fully intentional. But if I was to release all of these vehicles at once, which you can do by clicking the green button down here, there's a chance that all of these trains, all 6 of them, will burst out at the same time. I'm just going to test that theory. If I was to launch this train here, yeah, you see how it's going out to CAD Town? If I check its timetable, you will see that it's actually running 11 minutes late. So this is taking the next slot, which is, was meant to be the, what time is it? 5:55. So I guess it was going to be the 5:44. And that's why it's 11 minutes late. So this one, it'll actually correct itself. It'll run to the depot here. Instead of waiting for 15 minutes, it'll wait for only 4 to get it back on time. And then it'll run down to Rentwood. And it'll run the service as normal from there. If I was to grab this and let you go, are you running late as well? Now, you're running on time. But you can see you're due to arrive at Rentwood at 6:14. And you're going to wait until 6:22. Which is actually... Yes. Where's train 2 right now? So train 2's just sat in the depot still. So train 7 is actually going to run a service earlier than train 2, which is quite funny. I want one to come up. What are you doing right now? So you're running 17 minutes early. There we go. That's what I was waiting for. So you can see it's green on the right-hand side now. It's not red like this one. So this one's actually going to sit at the depot for 32 minutes. Because it's going to arrive for 15 minutes. And then it's going to be waiting the extra 17 minutes to get it back on time. So if I compare that again to this one here. This one's due to leave at 6:10. This one's due to leave at 6:29. Although I think this might change slightly. Oh, sorry, this one, yeah, 6:29, 6:10. That's right. I'm not sure why it's separate like that, but it's fine. This is why you have to be careful when you're dispatching your train, especially when you've just cloned them with scheduled dispatch turned on. Because there's a very, very good chance that you might accidentally flood your depots. This is why my depots were so big. So this one's now 46 minutes early, but it's still going to run to the depot and wait. Even though the depot at the top here is the first order, Actually, I think I know why that is. If I select this one, I think it's because it doesn't need a service, so it flicks down to the next one. This is one reason why on the M4J network, I'm actually planning on having the depot, as in this depot, not that depot, be the order that scheduled dispatch is assigned to, so that trains run into the siding and then wait, rather than running into the depot and then wait. Again, it's a realism thing. Bear in mind, these depots are basically TARDISes. They're way bigger on the inside. You can fit hundreds, if not thousands, of trains within these depots, which is incredibly unrealistic. So I like this this new system. I find this new system better, just to assign it to a different order. One other thing that I can show you now, if I was to select CAD Town Station here, there's a button here called Departures. If I was to click this, you can see there is a train assigned here. It arrives at 6:01, it departs at 6:02, and it's heading towards Rentwood. Depending on how you have your departure window set up, if I check this now, so we have at most 15 departures at each station. You calculate departures every 10 ticks. There's all sorts of things going on here. You can show vehicle names as well, larger fonts, smaller fonts, all this stuff. Most of it is irrelevant. Most of it you can just leave it by default. But it's really cool. And again, you might have seen this if you watch the M4J network overview videos. Whenever we wait at a station, I tend to have this window up. You can see where trains are leaving and where they're heading to, or where trains are arriving from in some cases as well. I really like that feature too. And again, it's tied into the whole scheduled dispatch and timetables, because the game knows how long it takes for a train to run its journey. So the departure board is accurate. And if a train gets delayed for whatever reason, it will say so. It will say, instead of due to arrive at like 10 minutes to 11, it may say expected 5 minutes to 11 if it's held up by a signal or conflicting movement or something like that. Sometimes if you skip an order, it will come up saying cancelled. There are also ones where I think it just says delayed, and that normally tells you that something's gone wrong somewhere and you have to go find it, which is a little frustrating, shall we say. I'm going to set this here just for the lols, 365 days, although 240 apparently is the maximum. If I was to select Rentwood now and click departures, damn, I was really hoping it would show the next departure. I'm kind of annoyed that it didn't. We've still got this one here that heads towards Rentwood. I think it's because of the way I've got times set up right now, although this one is running out, which suggests that they will be meeting each other at Rentwood. If I select this one now, it still hasn't shown up, which is kind of annoying. It's also kind of weird. There it is. It's shown up now. I don't know what was going on there. It could just be the day length factor that I've got means it wasn't very accurate. But you can see now we've got multiple trains waiting in the platforms, which is really, really cool. I'm a huge fan of this. I really like this. This looks really cool. And again, I know it's something really, dumb, but when things work like this and when it all runs well, this doesn't just work with railways, by the way. This works with buses, trucks, ships, planes, anything. Any vehicle in this game can run with scheduled dispatch. Any vehicle in this game can run with timetabling, with autofill. You can assign schedules and all sorts. It's great. I don't know if you can rename schedules. It's not something I've actively looked at doing. It doesn't appear as though you can. Maybe there's a way to do it there. No. But you can clear departure slots. You can remove the current schedule. That's how I goofed, by the way. I hit add up in the top corner here and didn't realize I'd messed things up. I haven't yet experimented with setting multiple schedules to the same train. I don't know how well that works. If that's something that you guys have experimented with yourself in the comments, in the comments, I suppose is the best place to say it. Give me a tutorial. Let me know how it works. But otherwise, this is the fairly basic principles of scheduled dispatch. Like I said at the top of the video, it can look quite scary. The first time I used it, I was incredibly intimidated. I also had a script that I used to use to fill these times in for me. I'm so glad that the control click feature here exists now. And I believe if I was to run a night train now, so the last train here is at 21:14. So if I was to set 22:14, If I wanted to have a nightly service that ran every hour instead of every half an hour, I could do this. And I was hoping it would actually add the slots, but it didn't seem to. So maybe that doesn't work. Let me just try it one more time in case I did do something wrong. So 22, 14, not 13, 14 to 414. You can still add these manually, but I was hoping it would do it automatically. Yeah, okay. But you can still do it manually. So you can go 2214, 2314, and then 014, 114. You don't have to put, if you've got single units like this, you don't have to put the 0 in front, which is also cool. Big fan of that. 314 and 414. And there you go. We now have a system where it's every half an hour during the day and it's every hour at night. Still 5 vehicles. You will have vehicles sat in the depot overnight because it won't need the full 5, which is also fine. And the other cool thing that you can do is have rush hour, peak, off-peak, things like that. I think that's actually what the second schedule is for. But again, it's not something I've experimented with, so it's not something that I can vouch for off the top of my head here. That pretty much does it for not only this video, but also this section of tutorials. So far in this series, I have shown you how to lay track, add signals, including programming signals, also with the track laying, basic principles of track laying, up lines, down lines, fast lines, slow lines, pairs versus straddles, all that kind of thing, passing loops, placing track, how to use the auto rail tool, how to remove track, how to build junctions, the junction types, all that good stuff. And then also in the second episode, how to add signals, including how to program them. Third episode was building the depot here at CADtown and how to get this up and running. Fourth episode was stations and making the stations look good, which is why Rentwood down here looks amazing. And the station at the other end of the line at Gadsden doesn't look, Guardston doesn't look as good. And then in the last episode, we did train route plan. Not last episode. 2 episodes ago, we did train route planning. Last episode, we did timetabling. And now I've just shown you scheduled dispatch. Like I said, all of this applies to every vehicle in the game. The eye candy, the placement of roads. The only exceptions really are airports and docks because they don't rely on signals. They don't rely on fixed things like a road or a railway where vehicles can only run on those things. Planes, you basically just need a runway and it can run pretty much anywhere you want it to within reason. There is something I'm going to mention next episode, in fact, because I'm talking about airports next episode. Ships, again, a slight exception because the buoys, not buoys, the buoys, you do need to use them for waypoints for really long distances, but otherwise, it works fine. Let's go check if we have a departure board here now. We don't. The way to fix this is the day length factor. That's something I'm going to talk about in a future episode as well. But yeah, this works with every vehicle in the game, and it's really cool once you get a really in-depth network like the M4J network up and running. And especially when you've got the departure board running. Again, if you download the latest version of the M4J network off my website, link to which is in the description, got my shameless plug in there, and click on a station like Guard City St. George, you can go and see the departure board there and just how many vehicles are leaving and arriving and all the different vehicle types, where they're running from, where they're running to, all that kind of thing. One more thing I will just say here, you might have seen here the HST in track 2 here was waiting for the DMU in track 1. That is factored in. So right now this train, it probably isn't running much later now because of it. But by the time it gets to Rentwood here, it may come up saying it's running a little bit late. But again, there you go actually. It says running 13 minutes late, but that's because it took a little while to get to Rentwood and Rentwood, sorry. Bear in mind Rentwood is the first station here too. So it's only going to sit here for 7 minutes now instead of the usual 20 because it's now going to depart at, it says 8:49. Oh no, I'm looking at the arrival time mark. 6:35 is when it's scheduled to depart, which is 20 minutes from now, but I think it is actually going to change that slightly. it does sort itself out. It does sort itself out. I've used scheduled dispatch and timetables enough now to know that it does sort itself out. Even if it doesn't look like it's going to, I promise you it does sort itself out. But yeah, that does it for, like I said, not just this video, but the first section of tutorials here. Hopefully you've enjoyed them and found them useful. If you have done so, please hit that like button. It really does help me out. If I've missed anything out here, or if there's any more advanced things that you know about that you want me to include in future tutorials, or if there's just a tutorial that you'd like me to do in the future, be sure to comment them down below. Or you can head to my Discord, link is in the description below, and join in on the conversation there. As a chat thread that I've got open now where people can leave ideas for tutorials and all that kind of thing. Like I said, next episode is airport building. So you might have seen the latest episode of the new M4J network. At least it is the latest episode at the time of recording here. If you want to know how to build those airports or make airports look like that, then be sure to check out the next episode. And the best way to check out the next episode is to hit that subscribe button and click the bell notification so you don't miss when it goes live. We've got other awesome things coming up in the future as well. Freight yard building, adding and removing new GRFs, and also the quality of life settings and new GRFs that I use in the M4J network, in case anyone is interested in those. So again, a really good excuse to hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your evenings. Thank you very much once again for watching, and until next time, I will see you soon.